another episode of the Grueling Truth Tuesday Night NFL Pick'em Show, brought to you by Gridiron Mo, a new interactive football app where you get to call what you think the offense or defense should do during a live NFL game and see what all other fans have called also. Check out Gridiron Mo at www.gridironmo.com. As always, for the Tuesday Night Pick'em Show, I'm your host, Mike Goodpaster, and we will start off by welcoming in last week's last place finisher at 10-4, Leon Searcy. How you doing, Leon?
I'm doing great. I'm doing wonderful. Thanks for the intro.
Oh, you're welcome.
Yeah, you Bagels fan. That's why we got an extra Steeler in the house.
Yeah, hey, you bring that up. We've got an extra Steeler in the house. We got a fan come on to pick this week. Clay, you want to introduce yourself?
Yes, I'm Clay McCown from Steelers Life, a group on Facebook, and happy to be with you guys.
All right, we'll talk about that group a little bit at the
end. Glad to have you, Clay.
And let's go to Matt Andrew Scabbage, who tied me at 11-3 last week, but he's still 5 games behind me. Leon's 6 games behind for the year. How you doing, Matt?
I'm doing real good.
All right, we'll start off with Matt. Matt, what was your big takeaway from last week?
Big takeaway from last week. Well, my team's season is over, but my big takeaway from last week, I'm becoming more impressed each week with Carolina. Carolina was probably one of 4 teams that I was just not enamored by. Number 1 being Philadelphia, which I'm still not. But Arizona and Carolina they're just looking better to me. The more I watch them, I've watched most of each of their games this year, and Carolina is just finding ways to win. And the defense looks good. Cam Newton looks like he's just a better quarterback than he was before. They're playing good. I'm definitely much more impressed than I was much earlier in the season.
Yeah, my big takeaway from the week, number 1, Atlanta. Atlanta had questions about anyways, but to go to Tennessee, only put up 10 points and have to win the game at the last second really makes me question how good they are. And then the other was Arizona. I'm starting to come on board. They still haven't beaten anybody that I think is very good. And the best team they played, the Rams beat them. The Steelers beat them. Now, I do think the Steelers are a good team, but without Ben Roethlisberger, if you're a Super Bowl contender, you should take care of that. And they didn't. But the one thing that impresses me, the one thing that started to win me over is Chris Johnson, because they didn't have a running game before. And if Chris Johnson can continue to run the ball like he did last night, even though it was against Baltimore, I think Arizona could be a contender. Clay?
I suppose I could try to agree with that statement as far as Arizona goes. I don't know what their problem is. They are basically loaded, and they should be much better than they are. I have to agree with the Carolina statement. Carolina is certainly a team to look out for. And my Steelers, absolutely. Ben's coming back this week, supposedly, and everybody better watch them. They're a high-power offense, and I think they're going to come out and surprise a lot of people.
All right, Leon?
Well, my surprise is I'm trying to figure out if these 2 teams are pretenders or contenders. They're actually the Miami Dolphins and the Oakland Raiders. They both put up big numbers last week. Miami Dolphins under Dan Campbell, they seem to be rejuvenated by whatever he's doing down there in South Florida. They're playing rock-solid defense. They're playing pretty good offensively. There just seems to be a lot more energy down there in that locker room and the way they're playing the game compared to when they have Philbin there. So we're going to see the next couple of weeks when their schedule gets a little tougher to see if these guys are for real. And the Oakland Raiders, going up against the Chargers, I saw a little bit of that game. They seem well balanced. Passing attack, running the ball defensively. They're playing pretty good. Like I said, it's early. The meat and potatoes of their schedule is going to get a lot tougher, and we're going to see if these guys, during the stretch are, really contenders to make the playoffs, maybe a wild card, or just pretenders and just become the same teams that they used to be, the 7-9, 8-8 teams that they're so accustomed to being. So I'm taking a good look at the Raiders and the Dolphins to see how they progress as the weeks go on.
Yeah, I think with Miami, we're going to find out a lot of answers Thursday night, and we will start start off with there, and then we'll get to you, Leon, because that's the first game of the week. We always let the new guy go first. So, Clay, we got the Miami Dolphins at the New England Patriots.
Yes, I seen they put a lot of points up last week, so that could be a little concerning for New England for their defense. But I'm not sure that they can hang with them. While I'm not, New England's was one of those teams right now where I'm not quite sure that anybody really can touch them. I really believe this is at least a 2-touchdown win for New England, I think.
Okay, Leon?
I think this game is going to be a lot closer than what people anticipate. New England against the Jets, they just decided just not to run the ball at all. I mean, I don't know if they ran the ball more than 10 times during the game. Tom Brady was in that shotgun just picking away at the New York Jets. Jets did have some success against them. They did pile up and stop the run, but it's just something. Edelman and Gronkowski, I mean, they just ate that secondary up. Tom Brady, I mean, if he's not the front runner for the MVP, I don't know who you give it to. But I think the Dolphins are going to actually play well. They're going to be playing up there in New England, Gillette Stadium. I think Lamar Miller had a good game last week, had over 125 yards rushing. I think Ryan Tannehill is not turning the ball over like he most frequently did early on in his career or even early on during the season. And I think that defense, I think the defense is pivotal. They can put a pass rush on Tom Brady. And everybody knows if you put a decent pass rush on Tom Brady, he'll throw a couple away, hopefully. I think it's going to be close, but I think New England is going to ultimately win by at least a touchdown. But I think it's going to be a close game throughout.
All right, Matt.
Yeah, New England, like Clay said, this is at this point right now, I just don't see really anybody touching New England. It's for sure in Gillette, and that's what really gives them the edge in this game. I do think Miami is a little bit better than they were, no question about it. They've played well. Lamar Miller is back. That really helps their offense. If this game was in Miami, I would give this more of a chance of being close. In Gillette, I just see this. The Dolphins are not as good as the Jets. The Dolphins do not have the secondary that the Jets have. I don't think there's any way they're able to get the kind of pass rush that they're going to need. Cameron Wake's very good and Dominic is very good. I just don't know that they've got what it's going to take on defense. Brady can get the ball out very quick. He's got Amendola. He's got Julian Edelman, Rob Gronkowski. Brandon LaFell is in the lineup now. They just have weapon after weapon after weapon. I see New England winning by 2 or 3 touchdowns in this game.
I think this game, believe it or not, is kind of a toss-up. And the reason I say that is this. Miami's front four is good enough to get there with no help from the blitz. Tom Brady, the teams that have had success have gotten a pass rush with just their front 3 or 4. And, if you look at the Super Bowl when they were undefeated, that's the way it was. I think Miami will be in this game the whole way. I think Miami can give them trouble. I think Tannehill's better than Fitzpatrick. Lamar Miller's a really good running back. Jarvis Landry, they got some good receivers. I'm going to go with New England, but I think it's going to be a close game. I agree with Leon there. Leon, Detroit at Kansas City. That's a classic.
Oh, yeah. I need to see another dog for this game and pick this one. This game is ugly in all aspects of it.
Well, I think Kansas City has a seeing eye dog playing quarterback.
Oh, well, yeah, they do, absolutely. But the Lions are just horrible. They can't run the ball. What's his name? He's the quarterback. He's having an off season. They got Megatron back, but they're just awful. They're just awful on both sides of the ball. They don't show me anything. And the Chiefs last week at Arrowhead, I knew it was going to be a tough game for the Steelers. I knew they were going to put a little pressure on Landry Jones, and if you rattle him, he's going to throw you a couple of picks like he did. One was actually a tip pick, so can't really give him that one. But they still really don't have much of an offense. They got a pretty rock-solid defense at home. The Lions' offensive line is horrible. They might give up 4 or 5 sacks in this game. So I got Kansas City Chiefs winning this game. Easy.
All right, Matt.
Nasty game. Really don't see much here. I'm just going to take Detroit in a close game.
Okay. I'm going to go with Leon. I'm going to go with Kansas City because I think the big matchup is the offensive line for Detroit against the defensive line of Kansas City. Against Pittsburgh, Kansas City's defensive line played really well, got pressure. I think they can definitely do that against Detroit if they can. Pittsburgh. Matt Stafford's been known to turn the ball over a little bit, especially on the road, so I'm going with them. Clay?
Yeah, for me, I think after watching Kansas City, that's our Steelers up this week, I think that it's certainly that defense is going to be a little too much for Stafford, and I don't know that that their defense is going to be able to stop even as weak as Kansas City's offense is. I really just don't think that they have enough. Kansas City all the way, but about 4-point win, I think.
Okay. Matt, you're up next. San Diego at Baltimore.
San Diego, Baltimore. Well, you watch the Chargers have been very competitive the last few weeks, but they keep falling short. I think this is the week that they kind of put it all together, and I think they get a win here. They may not win by a lot, but I do think that Phillip Rivers is playing well overall. He's got to get off to a better start, but there's so many weapons on that offense, and the defense does just enough. I see San Diego winning this game by between 7 and 10 points.
All right, I agree. San Diego's a better team. I'm going with Baltimore just because. What's Baltimore? 1-5, 1-6. John Harbaugh's a really good coach. They've been in every game, even against the better teams. I think they figure out a way. I think Justin Forsett has a huge game, and they pull the upset. Clay, what do you think?
Yeah, that's hard to disagree with. I think also Forsett's going to have a big game, and I don't know what the deal is with the Chargers because they should be much better than they are. The Ravens don't have a lot to offer, but I too think that they have a little more fight in them, and I think that the Ravens win by about at least a touchdown, I think.
All right, Leon?
Yeah, I'm going to have to go with Matt on this one. I think the Chargers in the last couple of weeks have just come up short offensively. They've got the firepower. I mean, Phillip Rivers is throwing up some amazing numbers. Against Green Bay, I think, had over 500 yards passing. Had a good game against the Raiders. Their defense just can't stop anybody. And one way to bounce back, I mean, the Ravens just haven't really been doing much offensively. The defense is not really that good. So I'm going to have to agree with Matt on this one. I'm going with the Chargers and a win in this game.
All right, I guess I got the next one. Arizona at Cleveland. Cleveland's Cleveland. I'll take Arizona. How about you, Clay?
Yeah, I can't say anything about the Browns. Well, the only thing that I will say is that they better figure out their situation, especially at quarterback. But I think Arizona runs away with this.
Well, I don't think they've had figured out their situation at quarterback since Bernie Kosar was there.
That's my point.
Yeah.
I think they all miss it. I think they all miss Vinny Testaverde up there.
Yeah, colorblind Vinny. And actually, Josh McNown there has played fairly well lately, but I don't know. I don't think you can really sit your franchise on Josh McNown's shoulders and have it turn out too well. Leon?
Yeah, I'm going with the Cardinals in this one. They had a nice showing Monday night. It was against the Ravens, but they did look well offensively and defensively. Browns, they're the Browns. They find a way to win in the close games. They've been competitive, but there's just not enough firepower on offense to really compete against the Cardinals. So I've got the Cardinals in this game and a win.
All right, Matt.
Oh, definitely. The Cardinals, they just look like they're more complete, especially like you were talking about with Chris Johnson. If they've got a legitimate run game to balance that passing attack out, if they stay healthy, especially on the offensive line and quarterback, the defense just looks like it's just got more and more weapons. Dwight Freeney is consistent. He still looks good out there. Good third down pass rusher. Inside with Calais Campbell and Rucker, they just look good all the way around. I noticed a lot of the different things they do in their secondary. They got a guy that they play up at linebacker a lot. They move guys around. They just look well coached. They look like they're getting a rhythm. Cleveland is interesting. They've got weapons, but with the problems that they've got at quarterback and being the Cleveland Browns, I just don't see any way the Cardinals don't win this by double digits.
No, in Arizona, the thing that really impressed me about Arizona the other night was watching their defensive line.
Yeah.
I mean, Dwight Freeney's really helped that out a lot too, but I think the way their defensive line played is the way you want your defensive line to play in an NFL football game. So Our next game, Clay, Cincinnati at Pittsburgh.
Yes. Well, Cincinnati has a lot of firepower right now, and they have a lot to be proud of. There's no questioning it whatsoever. They're a little bit scary in that their offense has a lot of weapons. Dalton right now is playing very good, and we all know about A.J. Green. And as far as I'm concerned, as long as Ben plays, my personal opinion is that the Bengals do what they do against the Steelers is that they get blinded by the black and gold and they lose. But it's still a scary game for the Steelers, no doubt about it.
All right, Leon?
I got to give it up to your Bengals. They do look good. Andy Dalton, he's got to be definitely mentioned in the MVP race because he's not turning the ball over. He's got a plethora of weapons, both passing and the run game. Offensive line's been rock solid, giving him the protection he needs. They've been opening the holes up for their runners. Defense has been solid from top to bottom. Defense, tackles, linebackers, secondary. They've played outstanding. I'm concerned if Landry Jones is in the game, there's no way I can fix it, but I have a feeling that Big Ben's going to make an appearance. And we all know that Big Ben is Andy Dalton's kryptonite. So I'm going to go with the Steelers in a close one.
All right, Matt.
This is a really difficult game to pick, just because with Big Ben coming back, I do, from everything I'm reading, it sounds like he's making the start. There's really not a question about it. And it just opens everything up. With Martavis Bryant, Marcus Wheaton, Darius Hayward-Bay, Antonio Brown, and there's so many weapons on that team. It opens the run game up. You know, they can't just stack the box against Le'Veon Bell. Steelers have their backs against the wall. It's really hard to pick against the Bengals, though, because, you know, coming off the bye week, they're undefeated. They look really, really good. The only thing Steelers are at home. I'm going to pick the Steelers by a field goal. It's such a close game, though.
Yeah, I agree. As long as Big Ben plays, it's a close game. I think the difference between and being at 6-0, this is where they should lose because teams don't go 16-0, and you got to lose to somebody, and they play Cleveland and Houston after that. Pittsburgh's desperate. I think the Bengals and the Steelers probably, even though, you know, everybody's in New England's ass, I think the Bengals and the Steelers have the two most high-powered offenses in the NFL. I mean, both teams have 3 or 4 wide receivers. I mean, the one thing that Pittsburgh might be lacking a little bit is at tight end, which I think Tyler Eifert could be a big difference in this game because I still question Pittsburgh's defensive backs. So I think the offenses are kind of even. I think the Bengals' defense is better. You take in the intangibles. I think it's a toss-up. I got to go with the Bengals just because all three of you guys pick Steelers.
Leon, you and I are going to close in on Mike, I'm telling you.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because every week where you guys pick different than me, it works out really well for you. I can see why you would say that, man. Hey, Clay, don't you like that overconfidence? They're both like 5 and 6 games behind me, but now they think since they picked different than me, that means they're going to catch up. Does that make any sense?
The king of overconfidence speaks.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, come on, Leon. Leon has picked the Steelers less than I have this year, by the way, I believe, Leon.
No, that's a lie. Don't tell that lie.
Well, you picked Jacksonville more than you picked Pittsburgh.
No, don't tell that lie either.
You picked Jacksonville like the first 4 weeks. That's why you're behind so far.
Oh, God.
All right, Leon, Minnesota at Chicago.
I'm going to go with Minnesota in this game. I like what Teddy Bridgewater did last week against Detroit, although it was against Detroit Lions defense. He had over 300 yards. Completion ratio was over 60%. They got Adrian Peterson going at close to 100 yards rushing. The defense is rock solid. Although the Chicago Bears, they haven't been playing that bad, but they've still been coming up with losses. And when it's all said and done, I think the Vikings are the better team, so I'm going with Minnesota in this game in a close one.
Matt?
Yeah, Minnesota is definitely the better team. You watch the Vikings; they're not a great team, but they've got just enough all around in their entire ball club. They've got a decent defense. They got Adrian Peterson. The passing game's coming around. They just do just enough of the right things to win. The Bears, I just don't think the Bears have what it takes to win this game. It'll be a tough game, but I think the Vikings will win, between 4 and 6 points.
All right, I'm going to go with Minnesota also. I think the big thing is Stephon Diggs. I mean, he's giving Teddy Bridgewater somebody to throw the ball to, and they're actually turning Bridgewater loose now, which they didn't earlier in the season. It was so bad earlier in the season they lost to the 49ers. So, Clay, what do you think?
It's hard not to pick the Vikings in this game. Naturally, with a divisional game, anything can happen sometimes. But I think the Bears take it out of their own way right now, and I think the Vikings at least win by 5 points or so.
All right, Matt, that gives you the game of the week, Tennessee at Houston.
Oh, man. Whew. All right, well, Marcus Mariota's out. I just don't see where – well, then again, it's Houston.
Well, neither one of them have a quarterback, Matt.
Yeah, Arian Foster was definitely giving them some hope on offense, something besides DeAndre Hopkins. This is in Houston?
Yep.
It is.
Yeah, I'll take Houston to finally break their losing streak, but I don't see where this game's going to be real pretty.
All right, heads Tennessee, tails Houston. Here we go.
Flip it.
There we go. It is Houston for me. Got that one coin flip game every week. Clay, what do you think?
Yeah, I think I have to go Houston, and there's not a lot to say about that game.
No. Leon?
Yeah, exactly. I agree with both of y'all. This is like a coin flip game. I mean, the AFC South is definitely the worst division. I mean, I think the Colts are going to win it by default, probably in those 7-9 to win, because they're playing horrible as well. This game might be a field goal game. It might be 12-9. I'm going to give it a close. So I'm picking Houston in this game.
The way it's going now, the Colts might host a playoff game at 5-11 or 6-10.
Exactly.
What a surprise that is,
too. To be a 5 seed. All right, where are we at now? We'll go, I guess I got this one. The New York Giants at the New Orleans Saints. I'm going to go with the Saints. I'm going to go with Drew Brees at home. I think the Giants are not very good, and I think the NFC East is very close to the AFC South right now. What do you think, Clay?
Yeah, it's hard to disagree with them. I've always said Brees at home is very, very difficult to beat. I don't know what the issue is with the Giants, and every week it just looks like they might be able to hang in a game, and they just find a way to look just mediocre. So I certainly think the Saints.
Yeah, I think the Giants' main problem is the fact that their offensive line is atrocious. Similar to Indianapolis, you got a big-time quarterback, but you got no offensive line. They're starting Marshall Newhouse, who the Bengals had so many injuries they had to start him last year. And I think at least 3 times a game, and from what I saw the other night, it still happens with the Giants, at least 3 times a game he whiffs on the defensive end completely and the quarterback gets hit. So I'm glad he's gone, by the way. Leon.
Yeah, I'm going to have to agree with y'all on the Saints, especially at home. Brees seems to have his rhythm back a little bit. Got Mark Ingram going a little bit. He had a pretty nice game last week over yards rushing. The defense, Rob Ryan has found the playbook and got the defense going a little bit, looking a lot better than they have. I just don't think the Giants are that good. Like you said, the offensive line is horrible. They've got a lot of injuries in key positions. The defense is not playing that well. So I'm going to go with the Saints at home at least by 2 touchdowns.
All right, Matt.
Yeah, it's really going to be tough to pick against the Saints in this one. The Saints just have more offense, I think. The Giants, they're just an inconsistent ball club right now. I just don't think they're going to be able to beat Drew Brees at home. I think the Saints are going to be able to put up some points, so I'll take the Saints in this game. All
right, Clay, the San Francisco 49ers, who haven't won a Super Bowl in over 20 years, against the St. Louis Rams.
Yes, it's an interesting thing, and especially another division game. And I think that I have to go with the Rams in this game, and I think that Jeff Fisher has that defense playing well, and I think that the Steelers even were lucky to get a win off of them. I think we don't get enough credit for that win. I think it was They're a very good team. So, I think I'm going to go with the Rams.
All right, Leon.
Yeah, the 49ers, just like when they played Seattle, they definitely have problems when they got a formidable front four. And I think this might be the best front four in the National Football League. We saw the type of trouble that Kaepernick had against Seattle on that front row, putting the rush on him. I mean, he didn't even scramble. For some reason, he wanted to decide to be a pocket passer. And I think the Rams have got an outstanding defense, especially the front four. Still not a big Nick Foles fan if he doesn't throw the game away and they get the ball to Gurley, who had an outstanding game last week and had about close to 130 yards rushing. I just think the 49ers don't have any firepower offensively, can't stop anybody defensively. I just think the Rams are a little bit better than them, especially at home. So I'm going with the Rams, and at least by 10.
All right, Leon, you forgot they're poorly coached also. Matt.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, I've attended the 49er Ram games each of the last 3 seasons, and there's one thing in common each time I go. The Rams are they're very good at home. They're very well coached. They play the Niners very tough, and the Niners do not have the team that they had a couple of years ago. I think they'll be in the game for a little while, but what's going to happen is Todd Gurley's going to wear them down, and the pass rush is going to be able to get to Kaepernick. Unless they do something drastically different, which I don't see happening, the Rams are probably going to run away with this game.
All right, I agree with you. I think Todd Gurley is just like the Chris Johnson thing for Arizona. I think it's the thing that could put them over the top. I think Gurley was the best running back coming out of the draft. I think he's proven that. And I just think the Rams, as I told you, I picked the Rams to win that division its third year. I still think they could. I mean, what are they, 2 games behind Arizona? And I'm not completely sold on Arizona, but I'm going to go with the Rams on that one. So real quick, we're going to take a break so we can pay some bills. So we'll be back right after this word from Gridiron Mo.
This is former All-Pro Leon Searcy. I've got a new interactive app called Gridiron Mo, where you get to call the plays, offense or defense, and a live NFL game. You get to interact with other fans, pick the play, pick the call. That's Gridiron Mo.
All right, we're back on the Tuesday night Grilling Truth NFL Pick'em show with myself, Leon Searcy, Matt Andrew Scavage, and Clay. What was the name of your Facebook page again, Clay?
We Are Steelers Life.
So go check out We Are Steelers Life on Facebook. Right now, who's up next here? Is it Matt?
Might be.
I believe it might be me.
All right, Leon, Tampa Bay at Atlanta. You asked for a good game. You got one.
Yeah, okay. Tampa Bay at Atlanta. Tampa Bay versus it disappointed me last week, But bad teams find a way to lose. I like the weapons that Jameis Winston has offensively. Had a pretty decent game, but they end up finding a way to lose against the Redskins. And your boy Cousins was overly excited about that game when it was all said and done. I was a little disappointed in how the Falcons played against Tennessee. I mean, they've got all these weapons offensively. You got Freeman. I mean, you got Julio Jones. You got Rossi White. I thought Matt Ryan was having maybe a contending MVP type of season, and they throw up 10 against the Titans. So that concerns me. But they're at home. They play a lot better at home on the turf, in the dome to get it done. I like the Falcons winning this game big.
All right, Matt.
Yeah, the Falcons should win this game. They are the better team. Tampa Bay does have offense. There's no question about it. They do got guys they can throw to. If Jameis Winston is protected, he does have guys that he can go to. Doug Martin's a decent running back. But in Atlanta, I think Atlanta's going to definitely be playing better than they did last week. I would expect Atlanta to win this game big. It's a division game. They need to keep pace with the Panthers, and I don't think they're probably too pleased with their performance from last week. So I'll take Atlanta.
Yeah, well, I think I don't know if I see Atlanta winning big because I don't know if Atlanta is capable of beating anybody big, but if they are, it would be at home. Tampa Bay offensively, I mean, you got Mike Evans. They got weapons, Vincent Jackson, Doug Martin at running back. But I'm going to go with the Atlanta Falcons also. Leon, let me ask you a question. What do you think about Jameis Winston so far?
He's he's had his ups and downs. I think he's been fairly consistent. I think he's playing a lot of people better than what people anticipated him. I mean, for a rookie, early on he struggled. He had his turnovers early on in the season. I think he settled down. I think he realized he's got to get the ball to his playmakers. Doug Martin he's definitely helped him take a lot of pressure off him as far as passing the ball as much as he had to. But he's finding his weapon. He's getting the hands of his playmakers. So I would give him, if I was to give him a grade so far this season, I'd give him a B minus. He hasn't played that bad. I mean, he hasn't lit it up, but he hasn't stunk it up as well.
Yeah. All right, we're to Clay's pick on Tampa Bay at Atlanta, but Clay's phone is having technical difficulties. Just sent a message, said he's going to try to get back on, so hopefully he'll get on later and give us his last 4 or 5 games picked here. Matt, that brings us to the New York Jets at the Oakland Raiders, which I think is a very good game now and hard to pick.
Yep, that's exactly how I feel about it. Especially being in Oakland, I think that gives Oakland a little bit more than they would if they were going into the Jets. Derek Carr's playing pretty good, and Amari Cooper, of course, is very good. Crabtree's playing well. They're getting production out of Latavius Murray, and their rookie tight end, Clive. I forget his last name now off the top of my head, but the rookie tight end is making plays, and the defense is doing enough. So I would expect Oakland to give the Jets a hard time. The biggest thing is going to be is will Fitzpatrick turn the ball over? And he is protecting the ball. Chris Ivory is running the ball well. They got their weapons, and they got the defense. The Jets have the superior team, so I'll pick the Jets in a close game. But, boy, this may be one of the better games of the week.
Yeah, I mean, Latavius Murray's played really well. They're coming off a tough, gut-wrenching loss to the New England Patriots, which has to be a killer with them. I like Derek Carr. You talk about Fitzpatrick's turnovers. I worry about Derek Carr here. I mean, playing against the Jets' defense, those defensive backs, I think it's going to come down to whichever one of them screws it up the least. I don't know. I might have to flip a coin on this one because it's that good of a game. But I'm going to go with Oakland. And they're going all the way to the West Coast. Leon, what do you think?
Yeah. I might agree with you on that one. This might be the game of the week. This is going to be it's going to be a good game. Oakland has played well offensively and defensively. I like Amari Cooper's development at receiver. But he's going to have his hands full against Kamari and Reeves come Sunday. They're in Oakland. They had the black hole. Patrick, he had a good game against the other Patriots. He turned the ball over. But just for some reason, I just think the defense gets after him in this game. And it's just going to boil down to which quarterback doesn't make the most mistakes and doesn't put the defense in a compromising position, have to play in the short field. And I think the Raiders may have the advantage at home. So I'm going to go with the Raiders in this game in a close one.
All righty. That brings me to Seattle at Dallas. They got Matt Castle. Seattle still got the same defense. I'm going to go with Seattle. What do you think, Leon?
Yeah, Cowboys are in trouble. I think Seattle, I'm not sure Seattle's that back. But I just think they're the better team. So I got Seattle winning this game close.
All right, Matt.
Yeah, without Tony Romo and Des Bryant, the offense, they did have a good game with Darren McFadden running for over 150 yards. I don't think there's any way he's going to be able to do that against Seattle's defense. Seattle doesn't have to even do that much. I think 17 points will be enough to win this. But it's the thing about Dallas. They've got a lot of talent. They've got if they had Romo and Des Bryant, I think they win the division. But by the time they come back, I think it may be too late. So it's probably too bad. But in this case, this is a bad time to play Seattle, and I don't see any way Dallas wins. So I'll pick Seattle in this game.
All right. Now, this would be the game of the week outside of Ohio and Pennsylvania. The Green Bay Packers at the Denver Broncos. Somebody's must go. What do you think, Matt?
Very tough game. Defensively, I think Denver is going to give Green Bay's offense a lot of trouble. DeMarcus Ware should be back, and Von Miller. The Packers just do not play well against these high pass rushers, especially on the road. I think their offensive line is covered up a lot by what Aaron Rodgers does, much more than what their offensive line actually does, especially at the tackle position. David Bakhtiari and Brian Bulaga are average, but their guards and their center are good, but Aaron Rodgers is the difference. But I think in this case, on the road, the Denver defense is going to give Green Bay's offense trouble. The problem for Denver is I think Green Bay's defense is playing at a pretty high level, and Peyton Manning is not. The only way Denver's going to win this game is if Peyton Manning has a good game, and that's going to be very tough. Very hard game to pick. I am going to pick Denver by 3 just because they're at home. I think if this was in Green Bay, I think Green Bay would win by probably 10 or more. But in Denver, both teams coming off a bye. I don't think the Packers' run game is quite what it was, especially with Lacey, although Starks has played well. Tough game to call, but I'm going to go with Denver at home.
Well, I think the key is this. You got Aaron Rodgers against Peyton Manning. I don't care what year it is. I'm taking Aaron Rodgers there. Green Bay's offensive line is not very good, but Denver's might be one of the 2 or 3 worst in the NFL. Green Bay's defense has played well, so has Denver's. But if it comes down to it, I'm going with Aaron Rodgers. What do you think, Leon?
Yeah, I like Aaron Rodgers in this game. You're right about his offensive tackles. They haven't been playing that well. They're average at best. I think the Denver Broncos' defense has been playing well, getting after the passer. They give DeMarco Ware and Von Miller. He's going to give any offensive line headaches. I just think Aaron Rodgers is the better quarterback right now. Peyton Manning has struggled the last couple of weeks. His arm isn't the Peyton Manning arm that we're used to seeing. His touch passes and the downfield throws aren't as accurate as they used to be. So I think I'm taking the better quarterback in this game. I'm going with Aaron Rodgers to get it done. So I'm taking the Packers to win this game.
All right, the last game of the week, the first place, Indianapolis Colts at the first place, Carolina Panthers. Indianapolis is a mess. I'm going with Carolina. Leon?
Yeah, this is an easy one. I've got the Panthers winning this game. They're playing good defensively. Cam Newton is, outside of the 2 picks last week, he is playing pretty well. The Colts are just shambles. They're a mess offensively and defensively. I think the Panthers win this game easily at home, so I'm picking the Panthers.
All right, Matt?
Yeah, Carolina should run away with this game. I expect the defense to really harass Andrew Luck. I don't see the run game being able to do much against that defense. And on the other side of the ball, I see Jonathan Stewart really running well in this game. He plays bigger than what he is, and I think the Carolina should be able to control this game from top to bottom, start to finish, and I would expect Jonathan Stewart to just get a lot of carries and wear them out.
So what do you think the problem in Indianapolis is, Leon?
The front office called out Andrew Luck and said that he's just not having the type of season that he used to have. I have to tend to agree with him. He's not playing that consistently as he had in the years past when he first came into the league, but that has a lot to do with the fact that they really can't run the ball. The offensive line is in shambles. If you saw them, they're on Monday Night Football. I mean, you've got a patchwork of offensive linemen being shipped around, tackle, the guard, the center. And if you don't have any real consistency up front in the offensive line, your team's not going to go, your offense is not going to go, and that's a reflective of how poorly Andrew Luck has been playing because offensive line is just not giving him any kind of protection. They're not running the ball effectively. So he's having to force the ball a lot more, which is leading to more interceptions, to more turnovers. And they can't get Andre Johnson going. Frank Gore hasn't been able to get going. And it's just – and now I think Philip Dorsett might be hurt. Got some issues with him, health-wise. I just think Andrew Luck is just having a down season as a sole product of the fact that he's just not getting protected the way he needs to be protected. So that's why he's been struggling.
So, I mean, does that mean that the problem there, Matt, I'll give it to you, is the problem there the GM then, more than it is Andrew Luck, the coach?
Yeah, that's where I was going to go with this. This goes on all over the league. Once you can have the kind of off season that the Colts had, where they had some glaring needs and they really didn't address them.
But they signed a bunch of old guys to address them.
Well, I'm talking about more on the defense. In the draft, they really needed to go after defense. Instead, they drafted Dorsett, which I don't know. They just didn't need a wide receiver. They're flush with wide receivers. So you got a glaring need on defense. You have a glaring need on the offensive line. Offensive line doesn't work, your team don't work. Take it from me. My team is shambles largely because their offensive line just doesn't work. And that's the problem in Indianapolis. Andrew Luck's a very good quarterback, but very good quarterbacks still need at least a decent offensive line, and they don't have it. So I would blame the GM for the off season. And the problem is once you start losing, everything can begin to crumble. Then you get into a blame game. People get frustrated. The media gets involved, and then you have a play like I think what really is doing Indianapolis in now. It's weird, but it's going to be that fake punt. Everyone's going to remember their season better by that fake punt, unless they completely turn it around. They're not playing well. They have a play like that on national TV. Now you're calling the coach into question. Everything just starts to fall apart from top to bottom. So I would
I think
point the finger at the GM.
To fall apart, Matt, when they traded a number 1 pick for Trent Richardson.
Yeah. That's true. That's very true.
Downhill
at the time, it's funny you say that though, because I remember when it happened, and I originally thought Cleveland made the mistake.
See, I told you.
Well, this is guy. Well, it just seemed like off the top, it's like, well, this is a guy who, okay, yeah, he maybe had an off. The Cleveland became disenchanted with him, but. He's so young, and he's a top 10 pick. Maybe Indianapolis can turn him around, and holy cow, look what they were able to get. But man, what a disaster that turned out to be.
Hey, and I know there's some Colts fans out there listening that when that trade went down, started calling and texting me right away to tell me they was going to the Super Bowl, and I would just like to tell all of them, whether it's John, Jermaine, whoever, just to throw out some names of some possible Colt fans that I told y'all so.
No, way to stick it to him, Mike.
Huh?
Way to stick it to him, Mike.
I wasn't sticking it to him. I was just bringing up the fact that I was right because I like to bring that up when I am. Matt knows.
Yeah.
But,
yeah.
All right. So, any final words, Leon?
Yeah, we got a lot better games. I think the Oakland Jet game is going to be pretty nice. I think the Dolphins New England game is going to be a lot more competitive than what people want to give it credit for. Everybody thinks. Which they are. Patriots are this unstoppable machine that they just seem to be more. Anytime that somebody takes a stab at the organization, they just roll off a whole bunch of wins to kind of stick it to the NFL. And I think that's what they're doing. The Deflategate shenanigans on Tom Brady. I think this is their way of sticking it to the NFL and say, watch what we do. So I think that's going to be a good game. I think the Denver-Green Bay game is going to be a pretty decent game. So unlike last week, we had a future of horrible games. I think this week you got some must-see TV in a couple of different time zones. So it's going to be interesting football to watch.
All right, Matt.
Oh yeah, like Leon said, there's some good games this week. For sure the Sunday night game with Green Bay and Denver, and you got 2 unbeatens. This has never happened this late in the season where you get 2 unbeatens. On Sunday Night Football, or at least a primetime game. I know we've had. I remember the Colt Patriot game from 2007. That was a lot of fun to watch, and there's just more. At least a good handful of good games this week as opposed to last week. So I expect good football. The problem is I gotta say the officiating's getting worse. No matter what game I watch, it's just between the no calls, the blown calls. It's getting bad. I think there's between all the things that they try to cover with replay, all the new rules. Nobody knows what a catch is. It's it's just sometimes it's tough to watch. But it's the NFL. It's like crack cocaine. I'll still watch, but there's aspects of it that I am becoming disenchanted with. But hopefully, we got some good games this week.
So, Matt, what do you know about crack cocaine?
I know it's addictive.
That was from the 80s. I'll leave you alone. But hey, and we like to thank Clay for calling in from Steelers for Life. Go check out their Facebook page, Steelers for Life. There's a lot of Steeler fans like Leon that might like to go look at that. None of my friends would, but I'm kidding. I got a couple Steeler friends. So.
Hey, we're going to sign you up as a member. Come on board.
You can't sign me up as a member.
I mean, after this week, I'm going to be up for the game. I'm going to be actually tailgating up at the game, Cincinnati and Pittsburgh this weekend. So I'll make sure I call you after the game. Huh?
You can call me after the game, but, all the people crying in the background, it's not going to sound that good.
No, it's going to be a lot of terrible time.
Yeah, so let's see. If you guys beat us, you'll only be 2 games behind us still, right?
Okay, we're going to have a great time.
Leon, I'm going to tell you something, Leon. Mike is he's very confident right now. He has every right to be. But inside, he is hoping to God this is not 2005.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you're right.
Well, you know what, Matt? If it was 2005, it's still been 10 years since your team had won a Super Bowl in 2005.
Yeah, well, and you have never won a Super Bowl.
But that doesn't bother me at all.
You can't.
I don't
really
expect to ever win a Super Bowl.
Well, okay then. Then it doesn't matter to you, so it shouldn't matter if somebody else has one.
It doesn't bother me at all, but I know you like to bully me and throw all those Super Bowl championships in.
You don't see
me
taking any shots
with Eddie DeBartolo and paying everybody $100 million.
Your Freezer Bowl cheating.
How was the Freezer Bowl cheating?
Don't you remember when we had Ed White on?
Yeah, and I shot that down, too.
About how
1981, the Bengals in November in San Diego in 85-degree weather beat the Chargers 41-17. We played them up here. It was minus 59, and we only beat them 27-7. So the weather just kept us from beating their ass worse.
Yeah, and then we took care of you the week after.
Well, yeah, because you cheated. You stole our coach from Paul Brown. Let's see.
Oh, good times.
Oh, hell. Well, at least you can watch me and Leon's team play a meaningful game this week.
Agreed.
Because the 49ers-Rams game, I think,
you
is
will
only
get
being
no
shown
argument from me.
I think the Niners-Rams game is only being shown in a garage in St. Louis, isn't it?
Probably. It's going to be painful.
I'm never picking the Niners again, even on their bye week. Never.
I'll
anyways,
have to tell you,
just on
Leon,
principle, Leon.
I would probably have to agree, Leon. There's really not a game the rest of the year against Cleveland. That'd be about it.
Cleveland's better. If Josh McCown's playing. Cleveland is. They got Joe Hayden, best cover corner in the NFL if he's not arrested by then.
I was going to say, he'll be in jail.
It doesn't matter. From jail, he could cover most 49er wide receivers.
Yeah, at this point.
Listen, the 49ers are making their all-season vacation plans right now. So this way through the season.
I think they made them a long time ago.
Oh, yeah, it's over. They've already
Well, they were Super Bowl contenders for week 1.
Yeah, we were.
And at least Minnesota's winning now, so Matt doesn't bust my balls about my Minnesota pick. So hopefully they'll keep winning this week. But, hey, make sure you check us out on the Grueling Truth Facebook page. Check us out at www.thegruelingtruth.com. Make sure you check out Clay's Steelers page at Steelers for Life. Leon, your Twitter handle.
I'm at Leon Searcy 72.
All right, Matt?
At MTA Scavenge.
All right, and you can check me out at River Monster 11. So let's see, the rest of the week, the 49ers show. You got any guests?
Yeah, we got Jeff Geeney coming in from Pro Football Focus. Each team has a guy represented in Pro Football Focus to do all their stats and analysis. He's going to be a regular, and so we'll be having him on tomorrow with Dexter.
All righty, and tomorrow night, well, it'll be out Wednesday, will be the Cincinnati Bengals show, which I believe Leon Searcy will be there to talk about the Steelers.
I'm bringing my mud stomping boots.
And we will have David Grant, who played on the Super Bowl 23 Bengals, played nose tackle in the Super Bowl there. Also, as always, my co-host Joe Kelly, who was starting linebacker on the Super Bowl 23 team where the 49ers cheated and we lost.
I just heard the second part of that. You lost.
Where you cheated and we lost?
I heard
there was like
you
4
lost.
parts to that. That's all right.
Really don't see where we cheated, but that's all good.
Well, it's just good that it gave you the highlight of your life. So, what the hell?
Can you still hear your dad shouting that that you guys left Joe Montana too much time?
Yep, that's what Dad yelled. He said, "We're going to lose. Joe Montana's got 3 minutes." Yeah, he was right. I was hoping maybe y'all just break and score right away so we get the ball back with 2 minutes left. But we just had Boomer Esiason in the set. Probably still wouldn't have worked out in our favor. But he sucks on TV too, by the way. But
I agree.
I'm not a big Boomer fan, but all righty. Well, we're going to get off here, and we will check you next week on The Grueling Truth, where the legends speak.